Okay, welcome back. Now we will be talking about violence in public places. Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind is the term sexual harassment at workplace, okay, or even outside on the, it could be on the street, anywhere. Sexual harassment is any unwelcome sexually defined behavior which can range from misbehavior of an irritating nature, it could be a small misbehavior, or it could be very serious forms such as sexual abuse and assault, including rape. Okay. Now, the Sexual Harassment of Women Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013 defines sexual harassment to include any one or more of the following unwelcome acts or behavior. Okay, so what are the acts which this act defines as sexual harassment? Physical contact and advances, a demand return for promotion at work. So you give me sexual favors and I will give you promotion. That kind of an attitude on the part of the boss or the senior colleagues. Making sexually colored remarks. So always abuse is not physical, but it is also psychological. When you say such sexually bad things, explicit things to other women, that also if such bad remarks are made, then women feel insulted in public, and that is why it leads to some kind of mental harassment. So making sexually colored remarks, improper language. Okay. Then showing pornography. So if any colleague or, the boss forces a woman to see pornographic videos, then that is also considered sexual harassment. And apart from this, any other unwelcome physical, verbal, or non-verbal conduct of a sexual nature, even if there are gestures or signs that indicate something sexual and it is done with the intention of harming the woman, then that comes under sexual harassment. Okay, so sexual harassment at workplace. Why is workplace important? Because many a time, often when women are working in an office or an organization, they have to work with men, and this leads to them being sexually exploited. Okay. Now, why this particular act, the Sexual Harassment of Women Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act, why did this come into force? Why was this act made? Okay. Now, because of this particular case, Vishakha versus the state of Rajasthan. What happened? Bhavari Devi, who was a social worker in Rajasthan, she was gang raped by 5 men for stopping a child marriage. So she was a social worker by profession. Okay, that was her work. And she was trying to stop a child marriage. Okay. Because of that, the elder men of that particular area, they gang raped Bhavari Devi. Okay. She went to the trial court, but the trial court acquitted all 5 accused. So they were not given punishment. They were acquitted. That means they were set free by the court. Later, Vishakha, okay, Vishakha is not a person. It is a group for women's education and research. Okay, so it is a kind of group or a platform where like-minded women come together and they work for other women's education and they do research in this area. So this platform or this group named Vishakha undertook the case of Bhavari Devi and filed a petition before the Supreme Court for sexual harassment at workplace. And that is why this expression is important. Sexual harassment at the workplace. So the Supreme Court held that the safety of women at workplace is a must and convicted the 5 accused and gave a new definition of sexual harassment. So now the Supreme Court decided that those 5 men will be given punishment, and they were convicted, they were sentenced. And then the Supreme Court also decided that sexual harassment will be properly defined so that in future, if any woman faces sexual harassment, then she will get justice. Okay. Then let us know something about the Me Too movement. You must have heard about this movement. It is a social movement against sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and rape culture, in which people publicize their experiences of sexual abuse or sexual harassment. And it is, very sad that the word rape culture is used here. So it's turning into a culture and, inseparable part of culture. And that is a sad thing. That is a very shameful thing. Okay. The phrase Me Too was initially used in this context on social media in 2006. So this phrase Me Too, it was used on social media for the first time in 2006 on MySpace by sexual assault survivor and activist Tarana Burke. So Tarana Burke, that is the name of the woman who started the Me Too movement, and she used this term for the first time. She was a sexual assault survivor at the time when she started this movement. Sexual assault survivor. Okay, that means she had also suffered rape, sexual assault, but she had survived, and that is why she was starting this whole movement in support of other women who had been sexually exploited. In October 2017, this movement became viral as a hashtag on social media. So hashtag #MeToo. That is how we know about this movement on social media. Okay, so now you can see Tarana Burke on screen, and all the things that were happening at that time in the Me Too movement. Okay. Then we come to another form of violence in public place, that is Eve-teasing. What is Eve-teasing? It is a term primarily occurring in Indian English, which is used for public sexual harassment or sexual assault of women by men. So it is not actually rape. It is not sexual harassment in that sense, but it is sexual harassment in the sense of rude gestures, remarks, songs, whistling, recitation, improper touch, all these things. Okay, that is what we call Eve-teasing. A woman would be walking on the road, and some men will be there on the roadside, and they will say something rude to the woman, or they will whistle, they will pass some remarks, some comments. So these things, they come under Eve-teasing. Although Indian law does not use the term Eve-teasing, victims earlier usually seek legal help through section 294 of the Indian Penal Code. So there is a section 294 of the Indian Penal Code which sentences a man found guilty of making a girl or woman the target of obscene gestures, remarks, songs, whistling, recitation, or improper touch to a maximum jail sentence of 3 months. Okay. Only Tamil Nadu, only the state of Tamil Nadu has passed the Tamil Nadu Prohibition of Eve-teasing Act 1998 in this context. Okay, so only Tamil Nadu has taken this seriously and passed an act to prevent Eve-teasing. Otherwise, Eve-teasing is considered not so serious. Okay, and that is why many women have to suffer a lot at the, hands of these roadside Romeos. They are called roadside Romeos, all those, men who do all these things to women who are walking by on roads. Okay. All right. Then, next form of violence in a public place could be stalking. So what is this term stalking? What does it mean? Any behavior that does the following things. Okay, any of these behaviors. Knowing the person's schedule, tracking their whereabouts, or physically following them. Repeatedly sending texts, calls, or emails to make them uncomfortable. Unexpectedly showing up at the person's home, workplace, or school. Delivering unwanted gifts. Stealing the person's possessions. Threatening the person or their friends and family to create fear. Other behaviors that lead to feeling unsafe, harassed, or monitored. So stalking. Follow someone, you keep track of where they are going, you follow them, then you show up at their home, you give them gifts which they don't want. Okay, so all these things, they come under stalking. And if this is done to a woman, then it becomes very serious, because the security of a woman is compromised and she is left feeling unsafe. So she cannot move anywhere. She cannot even go, if she's a child, she cannot go to the school without feeling afraid. If she's working somewhere, she cannot, go to her workplace without feeling afraid that the stalker will come and, attack her or, threaten some of her friends or family. So there is actually a provision made by the National Commission of Women. There is a National Commission of Women, NCW, and there is a provision that if a woman is stalked in any part of India, the National Commission of Women can be contacted by calling a toll-free number, that is 0111 2321 9750. Okay, so there is a provision to help women who are victims of stalking. Then, of course, now we will come to rape and gang rape. Okay, we cannot talk about violence in public places without using these terms. Now, I want to tell you about one of the oldest rape cases in India, Aruna Schonberg case. One of the oldest rape cases widely covered by the media was the 1973 case of nurse Aruna Schonberg. Aruna was raped by a sweeper, Sohanlal, while working as a junior nurse at KEM hospital in Mumbai. During the rape, Sohanlal choked Aruna with a dog chain, causing permanent brain damage. Schonberg died from pneumonia on 18th May 2015 after being in a persistent vegetative state for nearly 42 years. What is this condition called, this vegetative state? A state of brain dysfunction, when your brain is not working. You are alive, but your brain is not working. A state of brain dysfunction when a person shows no sign of awareness. Okay, that is called the vegetative state. So she was in that state for such a long time. Sohanlal served his sentence and was a free man for most of those years. So while she was suffering, Sohanlal served his jail sentence and came out. Imagine the suffering that rape puts a woman through, right? The man, he completed his punishment and he came out. Still, this woman was suffering. This case remains an iconic symbol of the injustice women face in India. Okay. Then, of course, we all know about the Nirbhaya case. The most notorious of all rape cases has to be the Delhi gang rape of 2012. The girl named Eve-teasing was raped by 6 men while she was traveling in a bus with her friend in New Delhi. The The girl was brutally violated by an iron rod and later died due to her horrific injuries. All the 6 culprits were arrested. One of them, Ram Singh, committed suicide in jail. 4 of them were sentenced to death. Okay, they were hanged recently. And the juvenile was sent, juvenile, that means the person who was not yet a major, the boy who was a minor, was sent to a remand home and released in 2 years or 3 years. Okay. Then on 27th May 2014, this was another case. A gang rape and murder of 2 teenage girls was reported in Katwa village of Badaun district, Uttar Pradesh, India. Then the Unnao rape case refers to the gang rape of a 17-year-old girl on 4 June 2017 in Unnao, Uttar Pradesh, India. The Katwa rape case involved the abduction, gang rape and murder of an 8-year-old Muslim girl, Asifa Bano, by 6 men and a juvenile in January 2018 in the Rasana village near Katwa in Jammu and Kashmir, India. And if we talk about recent rape cases, in October 2022, horrific news of a man raping a 4-year-old kindergarten student in Banjara Hills, Hyderabad came out. The accused, Rajni Kumar, who worked as a driver for the principal of the BSD DAV public school, was reportedly sexually abusing the victim for 2 months and raped her in the lab located opposite the principal's chamber on Monday. Okay, that was the day just before this reporting was done in the newspapers. Okay. So just mentioning these cases, they are just cases on a list, but imagine the condition of women ranging from a child to a middle-aged lady. Okay. All these things, they tell us time and again that no matter how many laws are made, women are still unsafe in public places. And horrible things can happen to them. Now, there are also some other forms of violence that you should know about. One is witchcraft-induced murders. That means many a time because of superstitious beliefs, women are considered witches and they are murdered. Often it is the women who suffer. Okay. And the state of Assam has an Anti-Witch Hunting Act 2015, which recognizes witch hunting as an offense deserving severe punishment. So that is one kind of violence. Another is acid throwing. You know that, many women, their faces and bodies are disfigured because acid is thrown on them for some reason. You all know about the movie Chapak, starring Deepika Padukone, which has this acid throwing as its theme. Section 326A and 326B in the Indian Penal Code mention punishments for acid attacks. Then there is something called body shaming, which is the practice of passing humiliating remarks on the shape or size of another's body, or if there is a defect in someone's body, then passing insulting comments about those defects. All those things will come under body shaming. And that is also a violence in public place. Okay. Then sex trafficking. Women forcibly taken from their families and sold off for sex. Okay. The immoral, there is an act connected with this, the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, ITPA. Okay. Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956 prevents trafficking of women for commercial sexual exploitation. So whenever someone is found guilty of taking women forcibly from their families, making them travel long distances, and then selling them off to some party who wants them for sex. Okay, so if it is found out, then under this act, those persons will be tried and they will be punished severely. Okay. Then there is also another thing, that is violence against women in custody. So women who are arrested, they are in custody. Okay. They are in the jail, but they are not safe. They can be raped within the jail. Okay. They can be raped by even prison authorities. They can be raped by policemen inside the jail. There is no one to see. Okay. So that is also a very very alarming offense against women, those who are in custody. And many times, those women who have suffered such violence, they either commit suicide inside the jail, or they are even murdered. Okay, so that they won't reveal these things to people. So imagine a woman is safe nowhere. Okay. So these are the different forms of violence that women face in public places. So in the earlier video, we discussed different forms of violence that women faced in families. So together, we have looked at different forms of violence that a woman can go through, either in her family or in a public place. Okay, now we come to the end of this video.